Coming to you from the land of the rising sun.
And down under.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm Jeri.
And this is
Distant Relatives. Feeling flatulent. Always.
You know what? Why? Wait, first, why? Did you eat something?
I don't know. I just am. It's like a natural state for me, just being flatulent.
I feel like I'm also flatulent to a clinical degree.
Oh, no.
Like, seriously, I fart probably like at minimum once an hour. And I have this thing in my room.
Oh.
It's a
fart
air
indicator?
purifier.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it is sort of a fart indicator. You know why?
Why?
Because it revs up every time I fart.
Ew.
Because it knows that the air is dirty.
Ew.
TMI. I'm sorry.
Oh, fun fact. Fun fact though, I don't know if it's true. If you smell your fart, your lifespan increases.
Where'd you get this fact?
I don't know.
Wikipedia?
Probably.
Anyway, probably.
Anyway.
Okay, so let's just go back to the roots. Why we started Distant Relatives in the first place. So a recurring theme in the podcast is talking about difference and our struggles with it, alongside our other stories that we've been telling along the way.
Yeah, about life abroad.
About life abroad.
Yes.
And involving relatives who are in the Philippines. So, you know, we've sort of like expanded, but we also want to stick to the common theme or the
root.
The roots. Yeah, the roots.
Yeah, but we don't want to put ourselves in a box and limit our topics and stuff, you know.
Yeah,
but,
so we are doing a different series now, like Ask Distant Relatives. And for today...
So we are going to introduce a new series within the podcast. Yay!
Yay! And it's called...
Oi!
Shokku. Okay, we will be sharing themed stories, thematic stories. Anyway, just our stories surrounding culture shock.
Yes.
So what is our theme for today?
So our theme for today is culture shock at work. But before we get into this, let's get into our updates first.
That is right.
Yeah, so how have you been, Kuya Kyle?
Okay, I am okay, I feel. I've been going to the chiropractor for the past 3 days.
Ooh, can you record your bones cracking for us?
Oh.
That's like ASMR.
ASMR, so I'll just bring my mic and ask that person to just like record. Anyway, so I've been sitting really bad for the past few months, and I also do exercise regularly, and I just found out that because I couldn't do this one particular move in yoga because I feel like my foot is in the way, if that makes sense. Like it's just so hard. I can't bend properly. And I don't know if anyone feels the same way. So I went to the chiropractor. And then I found out that my hip was sort of bent the wrong way. Does that make sense?
How did you live like that?
Well, ever since, people have been telling me I have bad posture.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember that.
Thanks, Jeri.
You always slouch.
Yeah,
you're tall. You're a tall guy, but then you're like, oh.
Yeah. So that it has been the case for me. And now I'm trying to correct it. So, I've been cracking my back. Have someone crack my back.
Is that like a legit practice though? Because some people have been saying chiropractors aren't like really effective. I don't know.
Like, I mean, if you go regularly, I think, well, that was what the person said. Like, if I go regularly, I would ease into the posture. I
can imagine how good that would feel. Like, whenever he cracks your back and stuff.
Man, I feel like a new person every single time.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like for the 13th, like the 14th time, I would have a new name. Or a new
What's
body.
your name gonna be?
I don't know. Some enlightened person's name.
Ang.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Ups.
That is right. That's the name. So anyway, COVID update. The whole of Japan is now infected.
Oh,
like,
my goodness.
Every day it's around 1,000 a day.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And the last standing bastion free of COVID which was Iwate Prefecture, has fallen down.
Oh no! Is it because of the traveling thing that your government started, or why is it spreading so much now?
It is probably that. Because of that, the Go-To campaign.
Yeah.
There was a sudden high
surge.
Yeah. So anyway, it's not well, and I've stopped going to work. So work from home again.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm being updated as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this is updates, yo. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess you prefer work from home, don't you? Especially during this time.
Yeah, I kind of do. I really don't want to go out.
Wait, aren't you guys like a mask-wearing country? So if masks are effective, why is it spreading so much?
It's really hard to social distance yourself. And there's still, when you eat out, for example, company culture here, you drink out with your customers, with your clients, with each other. And then you have to take your mask off, right? When you drink. And you're sitting right beside each other. And then you share food. And then you share other stuff. Like the virus. You share the virus.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Ooh, that sucks.
People aren't taking care of themselves. So how about there, Jer? What's up?
COVID update in Australia. Well, Melbourne went back to lockdown. And I believe they're gonna lock down for 5 weeks.
Oh,
so
it's determined.
Yeah.
It's predetermined.
Yes, they have a full period. Well, that's for our office anyway. I don't know how lockdown-ish the whole city of Melbourne is, but in Sydney, the last time I checked was we have around 30 to 40 cases a day.
Oh, which is very controlled.
But now they're really recommending or encouraging masks, especially in public transport. So 80% of the people you see on the trains wear masks now, which is nice.
Okay. Yeah, it must have been a very difficult transition though, because they're not mask-wearing people. I'm sure a lot of people complained. No?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Like in America. Sorry.
Because in establishments, they provide masks for you. So, I mean, why would you complain if it's being given to you anyway?
Wow, that is a great service. But then in America, did you see that? There was this group of people giving out masks to people on the beach. And they were like, we want to breathe fresh air. You do not stop us from breathing kind of situation. And I'm like, it's just a mask, dude.
Yeah, you can still breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. So I've been actually going out. I went to the city. I've been eating at restaurants, but we wear a mask. But of course, when we eat, we take our masks off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we feel safe at the moment, even though the situation's like this, because I think people are taking it seriously. There's social distancing happening. Right. Even at restaurants, they spread the tables and chairs really far from one another. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Also for me, I also feel safe here, even if I go to the chiropractor. It's kind of I was scared at first, but I really felt like I needed to go.
Yeah. So you wear your mask inside.
Yeah, I wear a mask inside. And you have to wear a mask inside. And there are establishments now that have this mark that says, I am doing my best to stop the spread of COVID kind of thing. So those marks or stickers are given by the government to establishments to pass conditions. Yeah. We have that. Yeah. So
our office has that, which is cool.
So I chose.
You choose the specific businesses with those stamps of approval thing by the government.
Yeah, and it makes you feel safe, so it's really good.
Yeah, we really have to adjust to the new normal, but it's not really.
But the vaccine, though, what do you feel about that? There's a vaccine coming in.
The Russian one.
Well, no offense to Russia. I mean, I don't know. Jeri, there's this kind of stereotype or this prejudice against things that aren't Western, I feel.
I get what you're trying to say, but now I think the Western people
are losing.
are losing.
Exactly.
Yeah, like they're getting less respect because of Trump and everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I'm actually really hopeful for this vaccine.
yeah, I trust Putin.
I hope it works. And even China has this, like, they're on their clinical trials as well.
For sure they would have their clinical trials. It's their disease it's their virus that they're spreading.
It's not a Chinese disease.
Isn't it though?
But it started there, but I'm sure it's not, like, made by
what about the Spanish flu? People call it the Spanish flu because it came from Spain. So technically coronavirus is a Chinese flu.
Well, technically.
Chinese virus.
Yeah.
Technically.
We cannot put
not
race
all
on it.
Chinese people have have the virus. I'm just saying.
I think that's the thing that people feel racist about, is because people generalize it, like, if you're Chinese you must have this flu.
Yeah. But I do believe the conspiracy that they created.
Oh my goodness, no. I don't think
I do.
There's so much. No, I don't think so. Okay, so let's get into our main conversation today.
He doesn't want us to talk about it. I'm heated up over here. I'm like, okay, fine.
I'm literally heating up over here because it's so hot.
Because you turned off your AC for this episode. That's what you call dedication.
For all the episodes. Anyway, okay, so culture shock.
Culture shock at work.
Okay, so today Jeri will give us a story about culture shock in her workplace in Australia.
Yeah, okay. So just to start off, like in the Philippines, I feel that at work we're still very cliquey.
Okay, so what does that mean, Jeri?
We want to hang out with groups or like friend groups.
Like Mean Girls kind of cliquey, like you can't sit with us kind of cliquey.
No, not that. But you want to be in a group sort of thing. And there's like different kinds of group, just like in high school.
Okay.
I feel like work is still the same, like based on my experience.
Okay. So how do these groups form? Does it like do you just like gravitate towards one another, or is it like based on your teams or whatever?
Based on my experience, you can sometimes even with your team you don't vibe with them.
Okay.
And then you see other teams like they're your kind of people. So it usually happens during company outings or parties or like events where you get to meet other people aside from your team, and then that's when you like form your own friend group. And then
when you say click, you mean you hang out with the same people every day, even at work?
Yeah, like you have a specific group that you can go to at work. So that's very high schoolish, and I feel that's what I experienced in the Philippines, like in the companies. So when I went to Australia and I started in a company, it was totally different because a lot of the people there are very independent.
Right.
Like on my first day, because usually in the Philippines, when it's your first day, you're like the new kid in the block. So they're like, hey, what's up? All attention goes to you. And then they take you out for lunch. They hang out. They invite you over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the first day of me in Australia, nobody invited me to anything.
Okay.
Like no lunch, no nothing. Like they were just like, hi, I'm new, blah, blah. And that's it. Like there was no novelty to my newness.
There's no which is ironic because novel means...
Yeah. Like they didn't think I was shiny and new and nobody wanted to hang out with me. So I realized that for me to hang out with people, I need to initiate the thing. And I'm not used to that because I'm used to people inviting you over out of politeness, like, hey, she's a new person. She doesn't know anyone. So let's invite her, things like that. Yeah. That's like the culture in the Philippines.
Kawawa naman siya, let's invite her.
Yeah.
What a pitiful person.
Yeah. No, I mean, even your team leader would be like, hey, let's go for lunch. Yeah. Like, let's get to know the team, those kinds of things. But here, Like people just have lunch like individually, like they just leave their desk because there's no specific time for lunch. You can have lunch anytime you want. So people just get up and leave, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are leaving and I'm still here, and I'm like hyperventilating inside, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay. Do you have to eat together though? Is that a thing?
In the Philippines, yes. Because I feel like a lot of people in the Philippines are insecure.
Let's talk about
Wait,
that.
hear me out. Like, yeah, like they don't want people to see that they eat alone. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a thing, or it's not popular that you eat alone in the Philippines. I even saw this article of one like girl eating alone, and a person took a photo of her and said like, oh, kawawa naman si ate, or poor girl, she doesn't have anyone to sit with, or blah blah blah. But then you see in the comments, they're like, what if she just wants to eat alone? You know, people can eat alone. I feel, and when I was there in the Philippines living for 26 years, I never felt comfortable eating alone in public.
Okay.
Yeah, like I would never do that. I never did that.
I'm kind of
actually.
the opposite type. Like, I don't know. I'm more independent in that sense. Like, I don't really have to eat with someone to feel satisfied, like, in my work life. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just different in the Philippines because I've never worked in the Philippines. And maybe if people are eating together all of the time, I would kind of feel insecure. And no one invites me. But then I don't think it would be, like, a reason for me to, you know, be like scared and stuff like that, or insecure. But I don't know. I really have to experience it to find out. Yeah,
because in the Philippines, we're very social people. We like gatherings and stuff like that. So you like to eat in groups. Like even in companies, you eat in groups. So when you see a person that you know eating alone, you invite them, oi, sit over here, let's eat together, that sort of thing. So when they see a person alone, they'd be like, oh, this person's a loner.
Okay, hold back. Jeri, so give us the context why you felt this culture shock.
So in my mind, I was like, how am I gonna eat? Who am I gonna eat with? And what should I do? And, you know, in the Philippines, if you eat at your desk, you're like very workaholic, working hard. You don't want to take a break. You're just at your desk doing your work and eating. Yeah. So I don't know. It just felt sad for a first day to eat at your desk. You're just like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I look. I'm just eating there.
But did anyone invite you afterwards?
No. Just nobody did.
So you had to invite yourself in.
Yeah. So what I did was I stepped up. After a while, after like a few weeks, still nobody invited me. So I felt like, hey, I've known these people for a few weeks and I wanted to try and socialize and mingle during lunch. So what I did was I stepped out of my comfort zone and I approached... I remember this vividly because it took every power in me to do it. Because I'm an awkward penguin in real life, guys. I'm an extrovert and an introvert at the same time. So I'm really shy when I'm not comfortable with the environment. So I physically approached this one person who I know was very nice. He was eating alone. And I was like, can I sit next to you and have lunch with you?
Oh my gosh, that was so creepy. I'd be like, go away. You talk to me in that voice.
Oh, I didn't speak with that voice, but like a very quiet tone, like, hi, can I sit next to you for lunch? Something like that. And I was holding my lunch box and everything. And he was like, yeah, go sit down. And then like I felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. And then I realized like they didn't care. Like you can literally sit down with anybody and you can join anyone's table and they're fine with it. In the Philippines, you won't do that. You wouldn't invite yourself at someone's table who has a clique. Yeah.
So I have a question then. So what would be better? Because for me, it would be nice to have freedom to eat with anyone that you want anytime. And you won't feel like pressured. You'd have to eat with the same people every time. Also because like if there are already like groups present, it's so hard to get into those groups.
Yeah, that's true.
So in the Philippines, I don't think I'll be able to like live, especially if I'm also like an awkward penguin, but I don't a penguin. Why is a penguin awkward? Can I be an awkward
armadillo
person? Armadillo. Anyway, so I don't know. For me, I would have more stress in that kind of situation. But then, culturally speaking, yeah, that is the case in the Philippines. That's why maybe I ran away. I don't know. What do you feel, Jeri? So you're more comfortable in the situation in the Philippines?
It's easier because you don't have to think about it because you already have like a group to be with. So you know, like, hey, at 12:30 we're gonna get lunch and we're gonna get ready and we're gonna eat together. And then you wouldn't think about it.
But the thing is,
yeah,
in the Philippines, it feels like you have to be chosen to be part of that group. Like you are the chosen one. That kind of feeling.
No.
Because like, if not, like, it's so hard to get into those groups. Wouldn't you feel the same way? Like, hey, can I sit with you? Oh, I can't do that voice. But and they're like, no, you can't sit with us. Like, that kind of situation. Because like, if it's cliquish, then that's sort of awkward.
Yeah, but in the Philippines, you start with your team, and your team invites you to stuff because you're a team, and they feel obligated to make you join because you're a team. So as soon as you get in work, at least you have a team to be with. So that's the thing.
But then you didn't sit with your team, right? You branched out.
I sat with my team for the first few months until I met friends in work, and then I sat with my friends. You know? So you start with your team and they make the foundation of your friendship group.
I see. So in Australia, I mean, no one sits together the whole time. Like, it's just really randomized.
Yeah, random. So I was having lunch by myself now. Like, I'm being more comfortable eating lunch, like, I'm by myself. So I'm enjoying like my quiet time. And then me eating lunch randomly, just two lovely guys who I love from work. They're really nice. They sat beside me and they were like, hey, they didn't even ask. They just automatically sat with me. And then we had a good chat. And that's like, you know, that's very casual. Like, you don't feel like, oh, you can't sit with us kind of situation. You can literally just join anybody. Yeah. So that's kind of nice.
See, I think that would be nice. But also, if you're like sitting with different... Okay, so I'm on like different sides right now. Okay, I can feel the Filipino coming out right now.
Yeah.
Because I said a while ago that wouldn't it be better to be able to sit anywhere you want?
Yeah.
But then I would also feel like the comfort of being with people you already have.
Yeah.
Is so much better because if someone new comes every single time, it's just so tiring to be, you know, to like talk to someone new every single time.
Yeah, to put up like a front, like, hey, how are you going?
Yeah.
So how do you start that even? See?
I don't even know if it's like the Filipino in me. It's just probably the introvert in me who's just like, go away.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't know. It's complicated, huh?
Yeah, like it was so hard for me. Like I would stress out and that made me flatulent, I believe.
The flatulence.
Yeah, but like I would scream always internally every day. I would like struggle. Like I would have so many
dread
social...
like lunchtime.
Yeah. Yeah, and not just lunchtime, like just social interactions, just like seeing somebody walk towards me across the hall. Like, what do I say? Do I smile? Do I say hi? And then I'm like, hey, and then awkwardness. Just like, ooh, I hate it.
It's funny because in the Philippines, it would seem like we're very sociable because we stick with the same people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of antisocial because we just don't want to put an effort to talk to other people, right?
Yes.
So
you're just like, you're in your comfort zone with your people who you know. And then,
that's true.
That's so true.
I don't know what to choose. I feel like I want to be the type of person who doesn't care about these kinds of things.
Yeah. Same.
But then, I care about it.
Yeah, like before when I would have lunch, like I would always have my phone on my face Because I don't know what to do when you eat alone. Like, what do you do?
Just so that you would seem busy, and then if someone comes in, you don't have to like interact with them.
Yes, so that I don't have to look up, and I wouldn't have to see people look at me eating alone.
Oh my god!
I know. Yeah, I'm just like that. We're like that. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Sad.
Okay, so if you're gonna summarize it, what was the whole culture shock out of all of it?
In the Philippines, you feel like you have to be in a group and have to eat together and have like a familiar group or a clique. But in Australia, it's like normal that you eat alone and you eat independently, or you can just hang out with literally anyone you want to hang out with during lunch.
I see. That would be a huge culture shock. For everyone listening, which kind of person are you? Please let us know. Yeah.
Okay, so that was my culture shock story, and I'm very interested to know about your side, Kuya Kyle. So what's your culture shock about work in Japan?
Okay, so this is, I think, really just a difference in culture. And this is, I feel, is just very unique in Japan.
Ooh.
So in Japan, the work situation, there's hierarchy.
Okay.
The president, vice president, there's this structure. And
manager.
And respect goes to the person above. And then I think this is universal, right?
Okay.
But then, if you are at the bottom of that pyramid, you really need to know where you stand, and not in a figurative kind of way, like literally. So when you're in an elevator kind of situation, there is a position for you to stand as a newbie.
Oh my goodness.
And it is it is determined by the whole cultural system. So I was like, okay, I was riding the elevator and I was with my manager. And usually, the elevator, it's a public space. You just go wherever you want, right?
Yeah, you just ride at the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, I go in and I ride at the back because I'm, just shy and everything. Just kidding, shy in an elevator. I just don't want to put myself out there. I don't know. But yeah. So apparently that was wrong. So my manager pointed me out like, okay, I'm going to tell you this because you're my junior. But then you have to be the one controlling the buttons. Yeah, and the people who are in the higher ups should be at the back. And I was like, oh, really? Is that a rule?
What?
What is this? And they were like, well, it's sort of an unspoken kind of rule that you just have to do in the company. And I'm like, so what if you don't know who the person is coming in, if he's a higher up or not? I mean, I don't know everyone in this company.
Yeah, that's such a good question.
Yeah, but they say like, well, your position. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you have to know is also one, I feel. That's why it's important to make connections in the company so you know who is who. But then you know that you're the lowest rank in all of the whole company right now because you're new. So you should know where your place is.
Oh my goodness. So like, do you ask them, what floor are you guys on?
Yeah.
Like, what number? What?
Yeah. So you have to operate the thing.
What the hell?
And for example, you go in and someone who's higher up is in front of the buttons. You have to say, excuse me, I'll do the buttons.
How do you say that? Can you say it in Japanese? I'm interested.
It's like, sumimasen kawarimasu. Something like that. And then they would move out and stuff like that. And sometimes people expect you to do that. But then, for example, it's a very tight situation. You can't really move.
Yeah.
They would have stairs, and you'd feel it. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm just really awkward. I can't do anything right now. And
no way. You've had that.
No, I just have like sharp stairs. Or I had like a situation when I was standing and the person in front of the buttons just stepped back as if saying that you should go to the button.
Oh my goodness. And then you went.
Of course. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't even, because I had to say like, oh, excuse me, I'm going to do the buttons kind of thing. But it really depends on the company, okay? So some companies are more lenient towards this and some... So I'm just talking about the elevators. Knowing your position happens in all sorts of situations. So in the taxi as well. So if you're riding with your boss and you're in the taxi, I have a quiz for you, Jer. Where should you sit? So if it's just you and your boss, where should you sit? So, okay, there's the driver, the passenger seat, and the backside.
If you're the newbie, you sit beside the driver.
If you're two people, you don't have to sit beside the driver. But yeah, in most cases, if the car is full, you sit beside the driver. But then if you're just two, where does the president sit and where do you sit?
The president sits on the right side, not behind the driver.
Duh.
You sit behind the driver. Oh, really?
Yeah, the president should sit behind the driver. That is
Why?
Because it's the safest place, apparently.
Oh, that's true. I knew that. Fine. I knew that. Because the driver would save himself.
Yeah, the driver
and not try and get himself
really? So
in.
that's the logic behind it.
That's my logic. Like, the driver would try not to get himself hit, so his side would be safer compared to the other side.
Yeah, so because there's a seat in front of you, right? So if you're three, you're the lowest person, there's the manager and the president. Where do you sit? You don't sit in front, okay?
You sit farthest away from the president.
No, you sit in the middle.
What? Oh, okay, fine.
Because that's the most dangerous place.
I just felt though like the president wouldn't want to sit beside you because you're a simpleton.
Because you're a peasant.
Yeah, you're a peasant. That's why I didn't say that, but I knew the middle one would be the most awkward position.
Yeah, so usually that's the case.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so it's determined. Okay, next, in a restaurant kind of setting.
Okay.
So in Japan, business meetings or dinners, lunches happen in a restaurant. And so when you enter the restaurant and there's the seat, so there's the room, like the conference room or something.
Okay.
Where do you sit? And where does the president sit?
The president should be facing the view. And you should be facing the wall. Oh, there's no view. Like where the more people pass by. Does that make sense?
Okay, no. So
how can I answer? That's hard.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, it's really hard to think about it. So I'm just going to say the answer.
Visualize.
Yeah. You should sit where the door is closest to. You should sit closest to the door.
Okay.
And the president should sit
makes sense.
in the farthest area in the room, away from the door.
Okay, makes sense.
So like in the elevator, the president should always be in the farthest from the door.
Okay.
But in an airplane,
they should be nearest the door because they can escape fastest.
So you should be in the farthest, and they should be.
That's so bad.
And the thing is, for example, like even if it's just like a few seats away, you can't sit in the same row together. So even if you're friends,
that's crazy.
Like for example, I have a good friend in the company, and then one time we rode a plane for a business meeting. And then because I am the lowest rank in the company, I had to sit farthest away from the door. And they sat in front of me. Like we're not together. But we want to sit together, but the company does not allow that to happen. They reserve like in that kind of rank and file sort of situation.
Damn, they try to really make you self-aware of your position. Like you are a mere
I don't know if that's
employee.
Maybe it is.
Respect your seniors and all
but
that.
The hierarchy is really important. So
wow. So
I'm just talking about like where you stand physically in certain situations, not like in how you work in a company. So this is just general.
So do you call them like president person? Like Mr. President, like something like that.
You would call like that.
That's so weird because in Australia we just call our CEOs like their first name.
And first name basis.
Yeah, like everyone. Like I call our CEO sup CEO.
Yo.
But we're very casual. Like we're just like first name basis.
Oi, you're just like oi, mate.
Yeah. Oi, oi, mate. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah,
I see. Oh, that's a very friendly culture. But for us, it's very it's a hierarchy. And also in a hotel, I'm not even done there. So when you reserve hotels, okay, so this one was a mistake in my part because I didn't know. So one time we went to a hotel and we checked in. And as the lowest person, I should have checked in for everyone. Ooh. But then I didn't know. So I was told afterwards, after the fact, that you made a mistake by not checking for.
Did they say it in a bad way? Like, did they like?
They're very passive aggressive.
Get mad
here,
at you?
They're like, you know that you should have checked in for everyone, something like that. And we were all in the elevator when that happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Oh my god,
I know, like. I'm really sorry. And then that wasn't the worst part. So I didn't check in for everyone. So we checked in one at a time. And I let the president go first because I thought like that is the normal thing to do.
The president first.
But apparently I should have just, did it anyway. So, but then I was last.
Awkward.
And then I got the topmost floor.
Oh my goodness.
And then the president got like the lowest floor. And then when we were in the elevator, he was like, and it's okay. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really matter for me. But then this other person, if I'm going to a business trip with this person would specifically tell the people in the front desk to put me on the top floor. It was like I was being told like, you should have done this. But then I was like, oh, I'm really sorry.
Was the aura very cold in the elevator? Were you like...
I mean, in my company, we're very close, I guess. So
yeah,
I felt it really bad though, because I knew I was being told. But then it was said in a very friendly way. But then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really sorry. Please don't fire me.
you said it like that?
No, I'm just kidding. That was
like
just
that?
me internally. I was just like freaking out.
So how did you say it? So how did you like
I was
apologize?
Like, I'm really sorry. I didn't know. Next time I will do my best. I just like, just something like that.
Awkward.
Super awkward. And
why did nobody like nudge you or be like, hey, do it?
I had like my senpai with me, but then they didn't tell me anything. And I'm like, I guess that was just like a mistake in all of our parts.
Damn.
There was no
communication. Are you reliving the moment now? Because I'm cringing for you. That's so hard.
I'm super cringing right now.
I swear I can't survive in Japan like that. I would die. I would physically my soul would leave me.
There's so many things that you have to like be conscious of.
Oh my god!
Just to be able to. Is it the same in the Philippines? Do we have the same kind of issues?
No, we don't have
I don't know.
The elevator things. No.
But yeah, like in terms of hierarchy, I think there are things that the lower people would have to, the peasants would have to do. But then, to make the whole situation easier for the higher ups. But then, just like the whole positioning thing.
Yeah, that
kind of situation.
That's not a thing for us, except for the hotel probably. Like, of course, the CEO should have the best like spot, which is the top spot.
Yeah.
So did you stay at the topmost floor? Or did you switch with them?
I don't know like what kind of rooms they got.
Yeah.
Though. So actually this is just a secret. Like I'm telling the whole world that I don't know what kind of rooms they got, but I don't know if I got like the suite or whatever, or every like room is the same every floor. But it was a big ass room.
For sure you got the president's room. For sure you got the suite, like the executive suite room. And the president got the small one.
I don't know. I hope that wasn't the case. I didn't ask, I just didn't tell anyone. Oh my gosh, I made a big mistake, right? And they're like, well, at least now you know what to do next time. I'm like, oh my god.
That was a nice response.
Yeah.
But somebody literally could have just guided you from the start and say, hey,
I know.
Check in the president.
I was taking so much notes from everyone else. I was like asking, what do I do?
Yeah.
But then this part wasn't like cleared, and I was like, oh my gosh. Well, at least I learned now. What I know now is like the worst things become like the best teachers.
So are you still a peasant? I'm
still a peasant, yeah.
Oh no! So you still do the things until now?
Well, not now because I'm working from home. But yeah, generally I still do a lot of like
the peasant stuff.
The peasantry. So nothing like that in Australia.
No, not at all. Like, it's so chill. I don't know if it's because we're in an agency, so like the people are more laid back and more casual, but like yeah, nothing like that. Jeez.
Well, I guess like there's a lot to learn for me from now on still, because going to experience a lot more cultural differences in the work situation.
Yeah. I feel like I've become like more independent, and I feel like I've stepped out of my shell because of this experience, because now I can literally insert myself in a social setting, like with people talking, and I'll just be like, hey, what's up guys, and just talk and feel comfortable and not awkward.
I see.
I just feel like more confident with myself and how I socialize, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so I guess you learned something for growth.
Yes.
But for me, what am I gonna take out of this?
to always push the buttons.
Always to push the button. No. I guess it's always, just being reminded of how you need to be humble in any kind of situation. And I think it's also a good kind of trait. Yeah,
and you learn discipline and respect and valuing.
But I don't think I want to do this to my, if there are peasants that grow under me now, like if I have a junior now.
Yeah. You wouldn't do that.
I have to teach them because it's the way.
Yeah.
But then I'll be like, you don't have to do this with me. We're just like, we can be friends. Like,
and then what if they disrespect you?
I don't know if, there should be boundaries, of course. But then, I would want to be able to, because it's not my culture.
Yeah, so
and I don't want to impose a culture that's not my own. If it's just me. So, but of course, you need to teach it to them, because if they're with other people, they can't treat other people like they're treating you.
Yeah.
So, what a dilemma.
Yeah, that's exciting though when you have your own junior. That's going to be a new story for us.
All right.
Ups.
Okay.
I hope you learned a lot about like the different cultures in Japan and in Australia, because I didn't know it was that intense, Kuya Kyle. Once again, Japan just makes it totally different. Yeah, just sets the bar. You got it right.
Yeah. For here, it really is just like ritualistic in a lot of aspects. But in Australia, for your situation, it sort of hits you differently in sort of like an emotional kind of way.
Yeah.
Because it's a different situation in the Philippines. So
yeah.
I think your struggle is also
can you see my struggle?
Hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like both our struggles are just different monsters.
Yeah, but yours is like way harder. I'm not gonna lie. Like
no, honestly, because if it's just me, you just have to know what's right or wrong and just follow, right? But then for you, you just have to like
gauge
you have
the situation
to grow as a person to be able to like get over it. So I'm like, that's so difficult too.
So how did you like that, fam? We hope you enjoyed like this sharing moment.
And I feel like we're going to be sharing more of our culture shocks in different kinds of themes, in different situations,
in different
as
forms.
we go along.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you have suggestions for what kind of culture shocks that maybe you guys experience and share it to us, maybe we can also
talk
about it as well.
That would be good. Just leave it in the comments on our Instagram and send an email.
Okay, so if you have questions for us, please contact us at the email on the description below.
Or suggestions. We're also on Instagram. It's at Distant Relatives Podcast. Please follow us and leave a comment and suggestions so that you can be in our next episode or next segment,
Okay, so that was a very quick one.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed. We're gonna wrap up, Kuya Kyle.
Okay, so this has been Distant Relatives, and remember, even if life abroad gets hard,
you don't have to go through it alone. Bye!